Hey everyone, it's Katie and Elisha from NowThatWe'reAFamily.com, and today we are going to tell you how we make money online, and we're also going to tell you how we've tried to make money online in different ways and how it really hasn't gone so well.
Yeah, so really this is a 7-year journey. We're gonna try to keep it concise, but we often get asked the question, okay, my husband and I wanna bring in some extra income online. How are you guys doing it? How did you do it? What have you guys tried? So it actually started when we were dating.
It did. So when we were dating, Katie had just watched and gone through a course by Jeff Walker called the Product Launch Formula. And she was hyped on this. And I was hyped at the prospect of having some additional income. At the time, I was working on building a real estate business in Bend, Oregon. I was working at a restaurant as a server and a bartender. And so any additional money that we could bring in from home sounded like a win to me. So I went through the Product Launch Formula course with Katie. And we thought, okay, we need a product. Like, in order to launch it, you first have to have it. And so we decided at that point to turn my music teaching into an online course. And that was the beginning of one of our current businesses, Voteberg Music Academy.
Yeah, so it was so funny looking back. Like, Elisha was really good at speaking on stage, but it was a totally different thing speaking into a camera. And we were still kind of like shy and awkward starting this business together. Like, we don't share the same last name, so I really was taking a gamble joining Voteberg Music Academy, planning on a proposal at some time in life. So anyways, we didn't actually get anything to market before we got married, and it was on our honeymoon. We were sitting on the beach and we were like, okay, 5 days into our honeymoon, Elisha and I pull out a notebook and he's talking and I'm taking notes, and we're like, when we go home, how are we gonna launch Voteberg Music Academy? And so we decided it was going to be a 12-week course that we were going to launch first. We created, Elisha paid to have a custom site created for us, which, looking back, we wouldn't do over again. We wouldn't go custom right away.
Yeah, there are so many templates now that you can use for courses, really for like any product you want to bring to market, whether it's a physical product or a digital product. You don't need to start with an expensive custom website. There are so many templates. So you can start with like a free trial, and we kind of bypassed all of those options. And I'm sure there probably weren't as many options then. And we went straight to like, okay, custom, here's all of our savings, build us a website. And yeah, lessons learned from that, but you live and you learn. And I think eventually we got our return back on that. Yeah.
So at the time we were using a camera that was like a $400 camera that I had bought. I'd paid half for when I was like 18. I was not a photographer. I was not a videographer. I still do not know how to use the settings on my camera. So we were just doing all auto everything. And I don't even know how we got the audio to work. Oh, we recorded the audio into one of our iPhones.
Yes, that's right. That was back in the day when we still owned smartphones. And so of course we couldn't do that now onto our flip phones. That's why we've got people doing it for us. You know, it's just really, look how far we've come.
We filmed our first 12 lessons and we were like, how are we gonna get people to actually buy this? We were super insecure. We were marketing the music lessons for $20 a month. We were like, I know, let's offer, we didn't do the product launch formula, okay? We had no email list, we had no one to launch to.
Yes, that was like part of the education, is we got all pumped about this product launch formula that you could do through email marketing. And we're like, great, we gotta create a product and launch it. And then we go to launch it to our email list, and what happened? We didn't have an email list.
We had Facebook at this time.
Yes.
And so that's what we used. I think we both had about 1,000 friends on Facebook. Who knows who those people were. But anyways, they were amazing because we put out on Facebook, For 1 week only, you could get your first month of Voteberg Music Academy free. And we really marketed it a lot off of Elisha and his family band. We put it out there and I remember Elisha was sitting on the toilet. He came out of the toilet. That's where he would go and lock himself. We were in a tiny little apartment, and I was like his shadow, like expecting to be, I'm married to this guy and I'm expecting he's gonna wanna spend 24/7 hours with me a day.
24/7 hours a day with you.
So anyways, but he came out sooner than he usually did from his alone time. And what did you tell me?
Well, I was pumped because in hindsight, we actually hadn't made $1, but it felt like our thing was going to work because we got 20 signups in that week.
We got a sign up, and it was for
Yes.
free, but it was someone who said that they wanted to look into what we had to offer.
That's right.
Yeah, it felt like a huge win. And I think that the thing that was exciting was over the first month, we started seeing that it was working for students. And so that was like, woo, peace of mind. We don't have to refund all these free subscriptions.
Yes.
And then the other thing that was exciting about it was it didn't take a lot of money to get us excited. So at the time, Elisha was the sole provider in her home. I'd never had a consistent job until ever. And so you were bringing in how much from the restaurant at that time, serving?
Maybe $2,000, maybe $2,400 a month.
Oh,
more.
wait, it was under two.
Under 2,000?
At this time, it was
okay,
under
so
two.
$1,600 to $1,800 a month. $400 was a huge win for
Yeah,
us.
it was a great increase to our income. So at this point, we're kind of doing whatever we can to earn money. So.
Yes. Like I said, I was trying to build a real estate. I thought real estate was going to be like my career. That was going to be how I was the breadwinner, as I was going to build this real estate career. So after we launched Voteberg Music Academy, what felt like, exasperated our current network. We're like, okay, well, we got those 20 people, and we kind of like mentioned it a few more times on Facebook, and nobody seemed to be signing up anymore. We're like, okay, that's everybody? Like that was all the people in the world, according to our network, that were interested in online music lessons. And so we got pretty discouraged a few months into Voteberg Music Academy. We were like, we need a little bit more money, like yesterday, actually. And so we started looking at other options in addition to the online music lessons, because we thought maybe this is a good long-term side hustle thing, but clearly it's not really solving the here and the now problem.
So Elisha was teaching in-person music lessons at this point. You went and like put in mailboxes for some guy.
Yeah, I mean, our local network was extremely generous in offering me like side work, okay? So I worked at the restaurant, I taught private music lessons. Katie walked dogs with like one of those dog walking apps, right? You did that, you tutored people. Yeah. And then people that went to our church had like a mailbox installation company that would hire me like on the weekends to work with them. My friend owned a blind installation business, and he would hire me for some random jobs to come out and help him. And so we were willing to really do anything that could take care of the here and the now. Because I think that that's always the challenge when you're a young family, or really at any point in your life, is taking care of the here and the now, but also having a vision for the future that you're excited about. And oftentimes people that are visionary and get excited about the future really compromise in the present. And they think, boy, we'll go get investors, or we'll take on all this debt, or I'll quit my job and pour all my time and energy into this passion project. And while they're doing that for this bigger future, their wife or their children really suffer in that time. And I was not willing to do that, and Katie didn't want to be a part of that either, and I don't blame her. And so finding that balance of working on your long-term future while you're also taking care of the here and the now is a really, really important yet challenging balance to find.
Get a discount when you sign up for what?
The Growth Initiative and
the Get It All Done Club. The Get It All Done Club is a home management program. Linked down below, you could see a free masterclass about everything I teach on creating a peacefully productive home. And the Growth Initiative is
about becoming the man that you feel God has called you to be, but you don't have the systems and the support to become it.
So if you're looking to grow together this year as a couple, even if it's in two different veins, we encourage you to check out the link below. You'll find a discount to the couples package.
And if you want to learn more about either of these programs, you can watch a free webinar, a free webinar for either one of the courses.
And so Elisha knew that my family had taken NeoLife for 25 years. His dad had taken NeoLife supplements to get him through like a chronic illness that he had. So he was familiar with this, but he didn't know that when I started taking the supplements, when I lost half my hair when I was 19 years old, that I had decided to work it as a business, and that business actually brought an income. Like, you kind of knew, like, he was familiar with NeoLife, but he didn't know that I got this check that was passive at this point for about $300 to $400 a month from customers that consistently ordered month over month over month. So he sees this check, he's like, I've been living with you for 3 months, like, you don't work on this business. How did you get this money? Yep. And he was like, let's do more of whatever this is.
Yeah, up until that point, I had probably what seems like a typical response that like the husband or the boyfriend or whoever has about like their wife's, like, oh, is this, you make all the jokes about network marketing. You're like, okay, sure, you do your thing, honey. I'm gonna go have a real job and a real career. But then when I saw the potential for the earning with this, I was like, boy, my ego at that point was like, okay, am I going to actually pursue this financial freedom, or am I gonna pay for my ego at this point? And I decided to pursue a better financial future. And I teamed up with Katie because I was like, as far as business partner opportunities that I have, she seems to be at the top of the option list.
At this point, we're like, what do we do? So we attended a meeting on how do you grow NeoLife meeting. And they were like, you need to do in-home events. So this is very belly-to-belly network marketing, what you picture with MLMs. And it was incredibly awkward for both of us because we both like to be liked. And doing network marketing is not the way to do that. And at this point, there wasn't a lot of, we weren't familiar with influencing, and network marketing hadn't made its way into the influencing space where it's grown a lot more. Everyone has their products they're recommending, I guess, and people are a lot more comfortable paying for a recommended product, knowing that someone's gonna earn a commission off of that. And so we started doing multiple times a week in-home events. And we would drive to other people's. One time we drove 7 hours away to do an in-home presentation for 2 people.
It's crazy. We did that for about 1.5 years. We really wanted to build NeoLife. And it's funny, if I look back on the timeline, it's like, okay, we poured into Voberg Music Academy. We got it barely off the ground to a few $100s a month. And we're like, we need more money. And we kind of abandoned that for a time.
Well, not completely.
Not completely, but we neglected it, probably is a better word, for a time. And we're like, NeoLife, let's do this, network marketing. And we poured into NeoLife and we got that off the ground. And we poured into that for a solid 1.5 years, which honestly, that might sound easy, but that was a hard 1.5 years.
Yeah, and it was so sweet though, because we were an embarrassment to a lot of people. I think Elisha's family might have been a little concerned for a little while there, which rightly so. They don't want all their friends to think that we're crazy. And you're starting off small with almost anything you're gonna start off with. You aren't gonna have instant success, and people are attracted to success. They aren't attracted to the awkward little film you're making or whatever it is when you're starting out.
And there is an element of this in any endeavor you start. Going back to real estate, the beginning of that, where you're handing out business cards and you're going to open houses and you're asking people if they're interested or buying or selling their house. There's an element of awkwardness there as you're trying to get established. When we're offering the music lessons online, there's this element of putting yourself out there. And so I think early on, when we realized that in order to get to a place in our life that we wanted to get to, it was going to be uncomfortable. That was baked into the cake, or that was going to be a part of the equation regardless. And so that really helped us embrace discomfort early and often in this journey. Again, you can be uncomfortable and not be successful with it, but I don't think you can be successful without discomfort and without growing and without there being growing pains. And so I think that we were able to really see that.
That's a good quote right there. Elisha
Write that one down.
We got NeoLife to a point where we were able to go on their free trips. That was huge for us because we didn't have any money to vacation. And so we got to go to these 5-star resorts and have the trip paid for. And we did that our first 3 years of marriage. That was our getaway, was being able to go on these trips that there's no way we could afford. So we kind of saw that as that fun. And meanwhile, while we're doing the whole embarrassing NeoLife thing, we're also doing Voberg Music Academy commercials, which I think other people were embarrassed by, but I thought they were awesome. I still think they're awesome.
I still stand by those. Yeah, they were great.
And so every time we would do a commercial, maybe 2 or 3 people would sign up.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so the whole time we're doing this, our network is just what we've already mentioned, our Facebook friends, okay? So it's people that you went to high school with, that you went to Bible school with, those people that you just have, that you know already and now you're friends with on Facebook. So those are the people we were selling to, and we did that with the Voberg Music Academy, we did that with NeoLife, a few of my real estate customers. I think I only ended up doing 6 real estate transactions in the 2 years that I was a realtor that whole time. And while we're doing all these things, I still have that job at the restaurant because none of our online things were providing enough consistent income for us to live on. And so I was always that whole time working at a restaurant and teaching private music lessons. And it was about 2 years into doing both Voberg Music Academy and NeoLife and selling that to our current network that we were both like, okay, how do we grow this network?
We decided, you know what, we don't like this whole in-person thing. We also didn't like, at the time we were messaging people online, we didn't like seeing everybody as a prospect, and we didn't see everybody as a prospect. So like if we just met someone on the street, we couldn't just sell them right then. We couldn't be like the MLM evangelist type of people. And so we were like, this isn't gonna work for us long term. We like the passive income though, we believe in the product. So I was like, let's start adding people to our online. I think I can add people to our online network by creating value through Facebook Lives that are unrelated to NeoLife. So I started getting on every Tuesday night when Elisha was working at the coffee shop and doing like why I'm cloth diapering, a Facebook Live on that. And then the next week I do it on something else that I was learning around our home. And that started bringing in more engagement to our Facebook. Yes. And then I had this random guy message me. I do not know who he was. He's probably an angel.
Who? No. Okay.
And he messaged me and he said, I think you have a great personality and you would do good on YouTube. And so I told Elisha that. So Elisha did not like that a random guy was messaging me, but I decided to start a YouTube channel off that. We're like, okay, well, let's give that a shot. So we didn't really know, again, how it works to get outside your network and all these things. We didn't know anyone who was doing that. And so I just started making YouTube videos. And at the same time, Elisha's like, well, I'm gonna try that too with blogging. And so he started writing blogs.
Yeah, this was the same month. It was January of 2018 that you started your YouTube channel and I started my blog. And your YouTube channel was, I think, The Catherine Joy, right? And my blog was nowthatimAfather.com. And I wrote maybe 7 or 8 blogs on there, maybe a dozen, I can't remember. And you were doing weekly videos. And we were both looking at each other's stats, like, this is crazy. Like different people
like I don't even know this person and they watched my video. And it was
Yes.
like 12 people were watching my video. And at the time, Elisha was winning the competition with that because he would have like 400 people read his blogs.
Yes.
And so I was like, you know what? It's probably the name. So I asked him, I said, would you mind if I changed my YouTube channel name to Now That I'm a Mother? Because Elisha's always been good with titles and names and stuff like that. And he's like, sure, that sounds great. I'm like, we'll be Now That I'm a Mother and Now That I'm a Father. So that's when I started realizing that collaborations were a good thing. And so at 200 subscribers on Instagram, YouTube, I was trying to collaborate with other people with 200 subscribers. And I was like, this is how you get outside of your friends and family. You like work with someone else and bring in their audience and you swap audiences. And so YouTube started growing at that point faster than the blog.
Oh, this was the first time that we had experienced, like you said, growing outside of our network, and we're like, let's pour all of our energy into this. Because my blog was really enjoyable and people liked it, but it wasn't really reaching outside of my network. It was still just kind of anybody that followed me on Facebook, I would share it there, and occasionally they might share it to their friends and a few new people would read it. But it wasn't very noteworthy. The growth was not very noteworthy. However, on YouTube, like month over month, it was starting to double, where it was like, okay, 100 people, and then 200 people, and the next month it was 400 people. And we're like, let's do more of this. And so again, while I'm working at the coffee shop, Katie's, or at that point it's a restaurant or a coffee shop, I can't remember which one it was. And
it's kind of on and off. We'd like quit and be like, okay, we have barely enough money to make it by quit your job. Let's just do this full time.
We'll go all
and
in.
it's like 2 weeks and we're like, what were we thinking? Not a good plan.
Yes.
But something that Elisha and I were very confident on was we don't want mass numbers, we want our people. And so if one person came in that was like our person, that aligned with our values, that was excited about what we were excited about, we were excited about that person. And so I eventually stopped doing certain videos or certain collaborations that would get a lot of followers or a lot of traffic, but they just like weren't our people in the long run. So Elisha started a podcast. He was like, I really want a podcast.
Yeah, so to my great surprise, my podcast was not a raging success after 2 episodes. And so we decided to do a joint YouTube channel because YouTube was the only spot we were seeing consistent growth in. So we're like, let's put more energy into that. So we started an additional channel called Now That We're a Family. And that was gonna be our family vlogging channel. And we were gonna have a weekly video there in addition to Katie's 3 weekly videos on her channel.
Yeah, and so Elisha took over the editing and all that on the vlogging channel. And so we were doing YouTube, and Elisha just comes back to like, I really want to do a podcast. What if we do a podcast together? And at the time we knew a lot of people that were starting podcasts. And so we're like, okay, let's do it. And so he figured out all the tech side. To this day, I do not know how to run our podcast, and I love that I do not know any of the tech behind the podcast. And he kind of managed that since day one and was the vision behind that since day one, because I feel like everything else you're synergistic with.
Yes.
With the podcast, I'd be like, hey, it's late at night, I don't really want to record, but then when we'd sit down, we'd always have a good time. And so at this point, we're like, you know what? I'm about ready to pop with our 3rd baby in 3 years. Why don't you go get a career? And let's just stop this whole entrepreneurial thing.
Yes.
And let's just get a salary every month. We've never had like a salary. That sounded so cool. So we started sending off job applications, and Elisha had a couple offers that were cool locally. But then we talked to his dad about it, and he was like, you know what? I really want someone to come up and manage the real estate brokerage that I'm in. Would you be comfortable coming up and getting your license up here? All of Elisha's other 9 siblings live in that state, in the state of Washington. And we're like, you know what? Why are we the only oddballs? You know, let's move back there. You can work for your dad. He can kind of grow you into taking over this brokerage. And we'll have a salary and just a consistent income. And that sounds nice. The YouTube vlog channel that we did together slowed down to a trickle. We kept the podcast going, and we totally got rid of Voteberg Music Academy. The custom site was costing us too much money to keep up. So we had to delete all the students over there, and like only 10 of them moved to our new platform.
Yes.
And so that kind of dwindled down to where I think we were only making $100 a month from Voteberg Music Academy, which is enough for us to cover our online expenses. And so we just kind of kept that going as like a maybe one day, but that was totally dead. And so I kind of kicked into, I'm done with the whole network marketing thing. I'm gonna create resources on Instagram. At that point, I felt very comfortable with Instagram. I'm gonna create resources about this product, and if people wanna sign up, they can go sign up on their own. I'm not gonna call them, I'm not gonna do anything like that. So we transferred our NeoLife business to doing that. Elisha's totally out of everything except for the podcast. And then he came to me and was like, these sponsorships are starting to get in the way of our life.
Yeah, there was a lot of tension in our home for that year period when I was working that job for the real estate company.
Hard year.
Yeah, and then Katie, the stuff that we used to do together, she was doing all on her own, and so we felt very disconnected throughout that time. And I think a huge motivation for me taking this job was I wanted to feel like we had this clean separation from home and work life. I wanted to feel like, okay, I'm providing for our family, and then I come home, we take family walks, we enjoy dinner together, and we don't think about work. Because for the first few years of our marriage, it seemed like our whole life was consumed by working together all the time, which was a blast for a lot of the time. It just got a little fatiguing there.
Well, especially with the 3 kids.
Yeah, with the 3 kiddos.
That's really what changed it. You know what, though? I still have ideas because I'm not doing real estate all day. I was like, I can create my own product. And at this point, I had developed a lot of systems and routines because I did have 3 babies under 3. My oldest was 2 years, our oldest was 2.5. A little bit old, 2.5. And so we had 3 babies that were really young, and Elisha, for the first time, I didn't have any of his help during the day. He was working very traditional, like 8 to 6 schedule. And I was like getting a lot of questions on how do you do this? How are you earning an income online? How are you mothering these kiddos? How do you maintain your home? And I was like, I think I can answer these questions in a paid program. I have a lot of tricks, I have a lot of hacks to make our home peacefully productive. And so that's where Elisha came up with the idea of calling it the Get It All Done Club.
Yes.
He's really been the brain behind all of the names. So he's like, why don't you do the Get It All Done Club? Because at first I was gonna teach mothers how to like grow an online business, and that just wasn't like where my heart lay. My heart lay within optimizing your home. And we came up with a monthly membership for the first month of the Get It All Done Club. People love this product. It's changing their lives. These systems are changing their homes. They love it. But it is not sustainable for our family.
Yes. So we took that offline and we're like, hey, this is not the right time for this at all. And we didn't know if we were ever going to repackage this and bring it back to market. But we knew this subscription model did not work for us at all.
Yeah, so we got out of our apartment through a series of events. We ended up in a travel trailer that was like 27 feet long with 3 kiddos. And I got pregnant, which I was like, you know what, this trailer is so miserable. Why don't we just get pregnant? And because I'm miserable in my first trimester anyways, and we'll just be super miserable.
And with all honesty, not much of a game plan as to how we were going to make money and provide. Like I said, we still had this residual income from the network marketing company. We still had a little bit of like
it.
Well, you still had some ad money coming in from YouTube. You didn't do sponsorships, but there was still some like Google ad money coming in, and those were the 2 things. And like I said, Voberg Music Academy had trickled down to like $100 a month, and so we're like, okay, we'll figure something out. I thought, and at this point, we were excited to just be brainstorming again together. We felt united in this. We felt like we were
our
back on.
Our marriage was revived.
Yes, we were back on mission together.
We had a plan for kind of building an online, taking what we knew with the online space and applying it to real estate.
Yes.
Still think it's a great idea. But while Elisha was studying for his test, he was like, you know what, Katie, I don't like real estate. I don't want to do real estate. What if we gave Voberg Music Academy a shot? And you were like, if it doesn't work in the next 2 months, I'll quit and I'll go do the real estate. And I was like, okay, let's do 2 months. We had a few savings saved up and we could live for the next 2 months, and so.
Yeah, so we repackaged Voberg Music Academy, added some new courses, and kind of relaunched that with new energy. And yeah, within 3 months, well, right away we knew it was gonna be a valid thing. It didn't replace like my income from my salary job, but within 3 months it had replaced that. We're like, okay, we can do this with Voberg Music Academy and building this online presence.
And it was nice because at this point we knew that the product worked. We had a lot of student testimonials through the years, and we were just like, we felt so confident selling this product. So we sold Voberg Music Academy, and then we were like, you know what? We still have the Get It All Done Club. Let's turn that into a full-fledged course and let's sell that. And since then, that product has continued to grow and grow and grow. But throughout this time, we decided, you know what? YouTube was not serving our family, so I cold turkey quit YouTube.
So since we relaunched Voberg Music Academy and repackaged and relaunched the Get It All Done Club, those have been the 2 providers for our home, those 2 products. And then since then, we've added some additional products, the Growth Initiative, we've added the homeschool course, we've added the cooking program that some of you have been through. And so those were really the 2 products that enabled us to go full-time in this online space and start creating more online resources. And when I look back in retrospect, I think it's so important and it was so advantageous to us that we started trying to build an online platform with a specific product in mind that we wanted to market versus just trying to build an online presence with that being the product. Because as we already said, if you're just going for numbers and for sponsorships, I think it's really easy to start, it might sound extreme, but selling your soul to the analytics and to the followers.
The trap.
And to the trap. But when you've got a specific product that you're trying to market through social media outlets, you're really able to celebrate those 5 and 10 new followers that you get at a time because they could be a potential customer that is interested in your product. So I think that was really crucial to us being able to sustain having an online presence, is that early on we were doing it for specific products that we were trying to market.
Yeah, and then really the last phase of our business, really this last year, was, okay, we loved working together, but we're having more kiddos, right? And I'm pregnant with my 5th. We wanted a homeschool. I want to be able to stay home, and I found that I was at this point too invested. So really the next phase was bringing on incredible team members to support Elisha. we still get to keep the dreaming, brainstorming. We get to sit down with you guys twice a week and be able to talk through stuff and share what we're learning. And so I just think that there have been a lot of different phases. I don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, for all I know, next year we'll be broke, and I'm sure we'll come up with some idea of what we're going to do. You never know. That's just the entrepreneurial roller coaster, but it's a really fun journey, and I'd encourage you to start it.
Yeah, well folks, thank you so much for being a part of this journey with us. We're so grateful for your support and your encouragement. If you are making money online, we'd love to hear what you're doing, so leave that in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you haven't done that, because Katie, how often do we come out with a video on this channel?
Every Thursday.
Every Thursday, and it would, I think, do us all good if we did not miss that Thursday video.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.